graphic nature of this program, listener discretion is advised.
I didn't understand a one word you said.
Ron, are you okay? Ron.
Ron, where are you?
I'm in a glass case of emotion.
Who was sent out here to do a Chris? What really happened on that?
Well, hello and welcome to Two Strangers One Podcast. I'm Chris.
I'm Paul.
And I think we have a more nerdy than usual episode this week for you guys.
Yes, we do.
I mean, it's all a lot of the stuff that we were talking about before the episode, and we actually try to just figure out what the hell we're going to talk about. A lot of the stuff came down to nerdy movie news, I guess would be, and why not? I mean, it's a multi-jillion-dollar freaking business. Let me see, what else? There was no nerdy movies this holiday weekend, right? Because we're recording this the day after Christmas.
47 Ronin is like a sci-fi movie right now.
Oh my god! And I heard it sucks. I don't have any interest in seeing it.
Well, you know what, Chris? Because I've worked in the movie industry, let me go to a website and I can tell you that. So continue.
Okay. Well, it's just, I mean, I like Keanu Reeves. For some reason, he's become the Kung Fu Messiah,
Kung Fu Messiah.
Yeah. He's been doing a lot of, ever since like The Matrix, I guess. I mean, don't get me wrong. I guess if you're going to do that kind of training and stuff like that. What's that?
Oh, Rotten Tomatoes. It's got 11%.
11%.
Let me see what people say about it. Okay, well, people give it 67%. Let me close that.
And Keanu Reeves is only, from what I understand, his name. They throw his name like on the poster, but from what I understand, he's a small part of the movie. He's not the star.
Right.
He's just a guy that's doing kung fu. Along with 46 other people. I don't know.
Something like that.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like it's like loosely based on Japanese or Chinese. I'm sorry, forgive me for being that ignorant that I have no idea. Ronin is Japanese, if I'm not mistaken. Japanese mythology, but it's kind of it's a kung fu flick, but I don't know, it doesn't pique my interest. From what
I've heard, like it's mainly a 3D movie, so you have to watch it in 3D. There's like only a couple showtimes for regular, meaning no 3D, so that might be pissing people off too.
Yeah, you have to pay like $3 extra for a pair of
$3.50 extra. Yeah,
But one thing I am kind of jazzed about in a weird way is that they've basically, because I'm also speaking about Keanu Reeves, his Bill and Ted co-star Alex Winter. I follow him on Twitter, and he released a movie earlier this year about the rise and fall of Napster. He's doing a documentary right now about bitcoins. Are you familiar at all with bitcoins on the internet?
Bitcoins, no. To be honest with you, no.
Yeah, it's make a long story short, it's a way for people to use money, and like you take money and you digitally encrypt it, I guess would be the best way to put it. It's basically you can send money to other people, but the internet uses its own kind of funky algorithm to like encrypt it, where basically you can send other people money around the world because it's on the internet, without it being tracked. Or I mean, I guess you can technically track it, but it's so ridiculously hard to track that like any government right now doesn't have the capabilities of sending it. So with Bitcoin, obviously there's a lot of drug dealing, and black market goods. But of course, the most black market is drugs and stuff like that. And of course, the U.S. government, they're quick to say, oh, well, when you support stuff like this, then money's going straight into Al Qaeda's pockets.
Exactly.
Because they say they paint the picture that a huge portion of the heroin trade that money goes into Al Qaeda's pockets. Which, don't get me wrong, I believe has some sort of truth to it, but I don't think it's like, I don't think like Al Qaeda runs the world's heroin supply. I think Colombia does its own. Colombia has its own fair share of the market without having to worry about Al Qaeda. So that being said, Alex Winter, he's doing he just had his Kickstarter just finished. And I so wanted to donate $100 because for $100 he was gonna sign Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure script, and he would sign it and mail it to you for $100. And I don't think that's not really a bad deal in my opinion. Right. Growing up with Bill and Ted, and had I had the money to waste, I would have easily donated to his Kickstarter. So that being said, there is a script out there about Bill and Ted, like Bill and Ted at 50. Right. And I'm kind of excited about it. Like if Keanu Reeves and Alex Winter do Bill and Ted Part 3, which they're not, if there is a name for it, they haven't, but it's going to be Bill and Ted at 50, which I'm excited about in a weird fucking way.
Well, good. I mean, it should be interesting to see. Like, are they actually trying to put a movie together? Or?
Oh no, there's a script. I guess like the main chunk of the script has already been written. Like I guess the concept is already out there. Keanu Reeves is on board. Alex Winter is definitely on board because he hasn't starred in a movie in like 20 years. Right. And he's doing these documentaries, and I'm so glad that he's staying active. And actually, I got a chance to watch the Napster documentary because he put a link up. It was like on AOL Films or whatever, where you could I streamed the movie online, and it was really good. I mean, of course, it was a documentary, and I already knew half the shit that already that was about, but it was talking about the rise of Napster, and basically I was more intrigued by like the later years of Napster, people tend to gloss over the fact that he kind of he worked along with Mark Zuckerberg, that right. If it wasn't quite frankly, that if also wasn't for his kind of connections, Sean Fanning, the guy who created Napster, or actually him and his friend created Napster, but he was the face. Had him and his friend not known had not interacted with Mark Zuckerberg, Facebook probably would have taken off. You know what I'm saying? So the rise of Napster also kind of helped push the rise of Facebook, which my fucking my dad is on fucking Facebook. I mean, it's right. Definitely hit a certain peak. So the documentary was real good, and I'm really interested in that Bitcoin documentary. That the people out there, because I mean I don't know, I guess if you look hard enough on the internet, you can find anything you like, and I mean it is kind of scary to say, okay, here's money that's totally not being tracked, but it only has a value if people give it a value. So I don't know if Al Qaeda is giving it a value. So I don't think we're funding terrorism if you buy, a pound of hash online using bitcoins.
A pound of hash, really?
Yeah. Oh, I'm just throwing a random obscure drug out there to just, So that being said, if there is a Bill and Ted at 50 movie, I'm all for it. I'm there. I guess.
Right. I think there's a lot of people that would be there for that. So you're not the only one.
So now I guess what's on the top of my list, Anna Paquin, who I guess her first major role was playing Rogue in the X-Men movies. Right. You were telling me that.
Yeah, she apparently. Okay, according to ComingSoon.net, and I read this earlier in the week. Basically, what happened is she was only involved with one scene, which, if you've seen the first 3 X-Men movies, and I guess X3 she wasn't as involved as she was in the last 2, mm-hmm. Her character was only used once. Mm-hmm. And basically what happened was they on the editing room floor, apparently, mm-hmm. they just went, guess what? Gone. So, yeah.
Yeah, because, not for nothing, in my opinion, and quote me if, let me know if I'm wrong. X-Men 1, the first X-Men, was pretty much the, Rogue's movie. Right. Even though it was about the X-Men, it was about Rogue and Wolverine, and it kind of followed her being, a runaway, and And, I mean, the very first scene of the movie was, Professor Xavier visiting her parents and stuff like that. So, like, she was there at the literal beginning. And,
Right.
and from what I was doing, my little research online, Bryan Singer said that it's a good scene and it's definitely going to end up on the DVD, but he just doesn't see a place for it in the movie.
He hopes that it's going to show up on the DVD. He doesn't know if it's going to show up on the DVD, but he hopes it will. And a lot of evencomingsoon.net said that they think because Bryan Singer had said that it'll probably show up on the DVD.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see why not. I mean,
/ Blu-ray.
And not for nothing. I mean, the first two, if you go anything by the first two X-Men movie DVDs, and these are just DVDs. I haven't even got a chance to check out the Blu-rays. The DVDs came packed with shit, packed. And to make a joke, I mean, the first X-Men movie, I can't even remember what year that came out, but there's a scene where they have a guy dress up like Spider-Man, and it's Hugh Jackman and Halle Berry and Cyclops and Jean Grey, and they're all running, and it's the scene, they're on the Statue of Liberty, and then they have a guy, and mind you, this was years before the Spider-Man movie. A guy in Spider-Man runs up on the set, and then he goes, "Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry, I'm in the wrong movie." And that was
that was hilarious. I remember that. Yeah.
That was back when Spider-Man was still a dream. Like, at that particular moment, there was no real serious plans to do Spider-Man. So, I mean, I remember that on the DVD, and because I believe, isn't it? It's Fox that does.
Right. It's a Fox property. Basically, we're gonna get a little nerdy here for a minute. Basically, what happens is okay, this is a really long process, so let me try to explain this.
The Fox DVDs, I mean, my point before you get into, my thing is that the Fox movie DVDs, like their action movies and stuff like that, are pretty fucking in-depth. Like, they put a lot of extra features on their DVDs. Fox really packs their DVDs with a lot of extra features, which I think is fucking awesome.
And, what's really fucked up about the Marvel world is, we'll take Fox in this example. Fox owns X-Men, they own Wolverine, I'm pretty sure they own anything that's involved with X-Men at the moment. I want to say Fantastic Four. I don't know if that got passed back. That may have gotten passed back, though. And I want to say maybe Daredevil at one point they did, but I think that actually went back to Marvel, so we'll see what happens with that. Some of these properties actually went back, so I'm not sure exactly which ones they still own, but I know that they have all the X-Men characters as of right now. The problem is when, like, Fox, for example, owns X-Men in this case. Let's say, because Disney owns Marvel, let's say we want to do an Avengers versus the X-Men, because I believe there's a comic book out there with that. You can't do it. Because here's the problem. Disney is going to go, no, you can't be, we're not going to put your name on it. And Fox is going to be like, no, you're going to fucking put our name on it because we own the rights to this one. And then they go back and forth, and then it never happens.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's one of those things that's just like, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see. It just really sucks because, like, I know, like, people want to see Spider-Man in the Avengers because apparently one of the incarnations of the Avengers is Spider-Man's in it too. So
yeah, the Avengers. I mean, when I was growing up, the comics of the early '90s, Spider-Man was an Avenger. So it is kind of weird to see the Avengers without Spider-Man.
Which speaking of a company owning exclusive rights to a person or the people around that person, Spider-Man, which is owned by Sony, actually is taking Venom and taking the Sinister Six and making them into movies.
Yeah, and you hit me with this news right before the show started, and I was like, at first, because I thought you were talking about how they kind of had little Easter eggs in the trailer for the Amazing Spider-Man 2, where you see, the Venom Project, and
right.
you see the wings of the Vulture, and you see, Dr. Octopus's tentacle
stuff. Yeah, I get what you're talking about.
And I thought it was just little Easter egg stuff, but now I actually went online and said, oh shit, so where the hell did I put let me find my freaking notes. Okay, Sony Pictures, and once again, this is comingsoon.net. This is the comingsoon.net fucking podcast.
Well,
Yeah.
that's where you get all your. That's pretty much where you get all the news pretty much now, because comingsoon.net and I think it's called superherohype.com are basically one and the same, but they're two different sites. So
Yeah, I just don't like it because sometimes they will speculate on something.
yeah,
And when you read it, they even say they're speculating, but unfortunately some people, they automatically share it and go, "Oh no, it's automatically going to happen." And it's like, "No, they're speculating. It has nothing to do with, it's so my okay, here's now when I was looking at the article on comingsoon.net, they say that the writing will go to Kurtzman, Orsi, and Solomon. Now, I'll be honest with you, Solomon, off the top of my head, I have no idea who that is. Kurtzman and Orsi are basically, those were J.J. Abrams' right-hand men. They helped make Fringe. I believe they kind of dabbled a little bit in Lost, but like Fringe was, along with J.J. Abrams, Fringe was their baby. If you're a fan of Transformers Prime, the cartoon, the CG cartoon, which I think is not that bad,
I
they're
liked it. Yeah.
they're the executive producers of that show and writers. But the big kick in the nuts is that Kurtzman and Orsi were also the guys who wrote the first two Michael Bay Transformer movies. So it's so weird because and they also wrote both the Star Trek movies. Once again, being J.J. Abrams, right hand men. So it's weird.
No, I like them actually.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like the Star Trek movies were good, but the Transformers movies weren't. Maybe Michael Bay dumbs down their work or something like that.
Yeah, you never know. See, that's a thing. Like using Spider-Man as an example. Like from what I heard, with Spider-Man 3, the one that you don't talk about, pretty much, in that trilogy. Basically because of contract things, like I was saying, like these studios need to, and I don't think I actually said that, but basically in these contracts, apparently these studios every so often have to make a movie out of these series. So X-Men, they have to make one every so often to keep it. Same thing with like Wolverine or whatever. So basically, like, and we're talking about, we'll say like Spider-Man 3 here. Basically, they basically told Sam Raimi, who did the first two, basically, you need to put Venom in the movie.
Yeah.
He's like, first of all, I'm not going to put Venom in the movie. Second of all, I'm not going to rush this. This doesn't need to be rushed. If we're going to do it right, we're going to do it right. And, being who they are, Sony said, no, you're going to do it our way, or you're not going to get to do the third one. And because he's done the first two, and the second one was just absolutely amazing, we expected big things from the third one. And, because he was rushed and he had to put Venom in, because apparently he wanted to do the Sandman. Because can you tell from, not to jump off of the subject at hand, but can you tell, like, the Sandman was so much better looking, and then like Venom was just like,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it was like, really?
Yeah.
and he, no disrespect to, I can't think of his name right now. The guy that played
Topher Grace?
Yeah,
I
Topher Grace.
fucking hate Topher Grace.
No disrespect for that man.
I
No
hate
disrespect.
him.
You hate
He
him.
was a fucking pussy on that 70s show, and he ruined Venom. So for those two roles alone, and hopefully he'll never fucking work in Hollywood again. So fuck him. But go on. I'm sorry. I mean, he played a pussy fucking character all those years on that 70s show.
I love
which
you, Chris.
no one. The only reason he was like he was the main character on the show, but because they needed the one normal guy against all the other, well, him and I can't stand the dickhead with the fucking sunglasses and the sideburns. He was an asshole also. But I mean, everyone else on that show.
I love you, Chris. I really do.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, he ruined Venom. How do you ruin fucking Venom?
Okay, let's give the kid credit here. Like,
so fuck Topher. And mind you, Topher is short for Christopher. His real name is Christopher Grace.
Yes.
But like to make him more Hollywood, little Fruit Loop fucking changes it to Topher. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not trying to sound anti-gay or anything like that. But a little fruity. You can't go with Christopher Grace. God. What's wrong with the name Christopher? Christopher is a great, proud name. I say I'm Topher. So I'm sorry. Go on. Okay, you don't want to take anything away from him. I say fuck him with a fucking steel door.
Oh my god, how am I supposed to explain things now? Fucking asshole.
How do you ruin Venom? It's like, you know,
Dude, like,
made
I
Venom
don't think.
a whiny, weepy little bitch. You should have fucking
Well, dude, like,
switched it up.
here's the problem. First of all, you don't bulk up Topher Grayson at all.
Mhm.
That's number one. You did it with you did it with Spider-Man. You don't do it with fucking Topher Grace. What the fuck is wrong with you? That's number one. Number two, Venom was never that like unbulky before. He was like ripped, dude, like huge and like just fucking ripped, dude. Like, and it just like. And here's another part about it. Let's not even talk about Venom. Let's talk about the fact that it was basically like a bitch. It was basically like Mary Jane bitching across the whole fucking goddamn movie. And I'm just sitting there going,
Oh yeah.
like, what the fuck? I'm like, it started out so good. Like, it started out to be like, okay, this could actually look like to be a good movie. And then it just went on bitch fest. And I'm just like, really?
Yeah.
Like,
Now here's my there are guys, okay, back when Star Wars 1 came out,
right.
people fucking hated Jar Jar Binks. There was some student directors or whatever that sat there and did a version of Star Wars. They edited out every scene that had Jar Jar Binks in it, and it's called Star Wars: The Phantom Edit instead of The Phantom Menace. I think that if you take Spider-Man 3, and one day I'm going to do this.
Oh God, here we go.
I'm going to edit out all the Mary Jane scenes.
Put Jar Jar Binks.
It would be a much better movie. Yeah, I mean,
that'd be hilarious. Oh, Mr. Master.
Yeah, because and Kirsten Dunst, big lollipop head that she is, she's 90 pounds soaking wet, and 85 pounds of that is her fucking gigantic head. They put her way too much in that movie. There was so much went wrong with that movie. I mean, of course, you got emo Peter Parker, the dance jazz scene or whatever the hell was going on.
Like I said, man, it just seemed like it was all fucking rushed. Like it was all like, this is what's gonna happen. This is what the fuck you guys are gonna do. And if you don't do it, you're not gonna get paid. And then to put fucking insult on top of that, they're in the middle of starting to do 4 and 5. And I don't know if you remember this, but they were in the middle of doing 4 and 5, and the studio went, nope, fuck you guys, you're done. We're gonna start with Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I'm like, and it pissed me off. I never saw the first Amazing Spider-Man because I was so pissed off about what they did to the directors, Sam Raimi and what is his name again? I can't think of his name right now off the top of my head because I got Topher Grace in my fucking head now. God.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
what impact he's made.
I know.
He has another fruit. He's another one with a fruity name. I'm sorry.
But you got to admit though, he made a good Peter Parker and fucking Spider-Man.
Yeah.
You got to admit, like when they chose him, like I looked at him and I went, you know what? He makes a good Spider-Man. I look at fucking what's his name that's playing Spider-Man now?
Oh yeah, Heather Heathcliff or whatever, some shit like that.
Whatever his name is. Yeah, he made a really big impact, didn't he? Like I look at him and I'm like, how is that Spider-Man? And I know people are gonna sit there and listen to the show and be like, well, that's Spider-Man Young. I'm like, I don't fucking care about Spider-Man Young. I want to see fucking Spider-Man ripping fucking people's heads off and shit. Like
yeah.
He does. You know what I mean? I want to see him go up to a Sentinel, fucking wrap the goddamn web around its neck and fucking take the head off. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to see no fucking kitty ass motherfucking Spider-Man. I want to see fucking Spider-Man.
And it's Tobey Maguire. I don't know why I can't.
Maguire, yeah, I don't even know why I fucking like lost it there. But dude, like he was the perfect fucking Spider-Man. Like in my view, he was, God, he was the fucking best choice for Spider-Man, and that's why like Sony and me don't mix at the moment, because like I think what they did. And I will give before Spider-Man 2 comes out, because obviously part of it was filmed here in Rochester. I'm going to go fucking see Spider-Man 2, so I got to see Spider-Man 1 first. I'll give it a chance, but from what I've heard, it's nothing compared to like the first two in the original trilogy there.
Yeah.
So.
And the new Amazing Spider-Man is Andrew Garfield, who's a British actor.
British.
But if I'm not mistaken, I think Andrew Garfield's the name of one of our presidents. If I'm not mistaken. Isn't there an American president named Andrew Garfield?
What are you talking? I don't know anything about that.
I just it is they went for he looks like he could have acted in Twilight. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, you hit it on the fucking head, dude. Like that's not even a joke. Like literally, if you were just to take him and put him right into Twilight, you'd be like, fuck, I could put white on him and he'd be goddamn fucking vampire.
Yeah, that's
Dude,
why
like-
I think it doesn't. I mean, I can see maybe why they're going for. The audience they're going for, I guess, they're like, oh, the boys are going to show up anyway, so let's put like this fucking Edward Cullen looking motherfucker in the movie so the girls will come. And it's like, I don't know.
Well, like I guess getting back to topic, like we were talking about Venom and Sinister Six, like a lot of people are out there like bashing, especially like the Sinister Six, because how are you going to do a movie about the Sinister Six when you need to have Spider-Man in that movie? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then Venom, you don't really need Spider-Man because Venom becomes his own hero in the comic books himself. But, it's going to be interesting to see how, because obviously Venom was created because of Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
Because obviously the symbiote takes over Spider-Man, and then Venom takes over the symbiote, which is Venom, takes over another person, which is, oh god, off the top of my head, what is his name? Brock?
Eddie Brock?
Eddie Brock.
Yeah.
And he, then he gets bulked up and he's a fucking huge-ass motherfucking Spider-Man that can kick everybody's ass. And then he becomes good at some point. But, it's going to be really interesting to see how they do it. And the rumors up to bringing out the one character that everybody wants to see, and that's Carnage. So I can't tell you how long I've been waiting for a Venom movie, because I always loved Venom. Venom, I like Spider-Man, don't get me wrong, I like Spider-Man, but fucking Venom, I was like, dude, fuck, I want Venom. I want to be fucking Venom. I'm like, shit. I'm like fucking Superman, I got fucking webs, I'm gonna fucking kick your ass, 10 feet down the block. Yeah, fuck you, I want to be Venom.
And we finally got to the point in movies where we can make a Venom that looks like the comics. You know what I'm saying? Like what was portrayed in 2D images, we can finally give justice to.
And by the way,
like this oily mass, transforming into like a big giant fucking head, that bites at people, or big whipping around arms and tentacles, or whatever the fuck you want to call them, tendrils. Technology's finally gotten to the point where you could do fucking Venom awesome.
And by the way, we need to give credit where credit's due here. Sam Raimi did do. I personally liked the way that he did Venom on Spider-Man. I love that black suit. I thought that was incredible. I thought that was absolutely awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the only problem I had with that shit
mm-hmm.
was I don't know about you, but did you ever remember in a comic where Spider-Man took off the suit and it was hanging in a closet?
No.
No. Did you ever see? And I'm not talking about the regular Spider-Man suit. Okay, fine. Yeah, I could see that being in a closet. But the black one that's attached to his body is in the closet.
Oh yeah.
How does that make any sense? That was the biggest thing that pissed me off about the whole thing. I was like, did I really just see that? I actually paused that. I think I watched the movie once and I paused it and I'm like, did I really just see the fucking Spider-Man suit in the closet?
Yeah, because in the comics, it would if I remember correctly, and I could be totally wrong, it was kind of like, I think it was still on him, but it was like, it all coagulated on his back or something. It was
no.
Or it went into his book bag or something like that.
Have you seen the animated series? Because in the animated series, basically what happens is he's, and I'm talking about the 90s version of Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
Basically what happens is the whole suit basically dresses him, his shoes and his pants and everything, and that the whole symbiote is on him. So basically he's naked underneath the suit, technically. So for me, it doesn't make any sense when you have the fucking technology not to sit there and go, okay, we're gonna keep this detail in the movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're gonna keep this detail in the movie, and we're gonna fucking be like, okay, every time he wants to put the suit on, it's just gonna appear over him. That would make sense. Every fucking comic book, if you would have done that right, it would have made the movie at least 5 times better.
Yeah.
Because that was one of the. Dude, look, I am not a nitpicking person. I will not nitpick if you want to change something. I like the fact that in that trilogy of Spider-Man, he naturally could shoot web out of his arm.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently in the new version, because I haven't seen the first one, he needs it's like the animated series where he has to have a device to help him shoot it out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I after seeing that in the original trilogy, I'm like, why wouldn't you continue that? You know what I mean?
Well,
Like-
I mean, both versions are in the comics, though. So I mean, just one trilogy honored the web. But of course, if it was a real spider, it'd be shooting out of his ass. So, I mean,
True.
if he was taking after a spider,
went too far. You just went too far there.
that would have been a whole different kind of movie.
But I'm just saying, like, let's do things right. Let's not fuck shit up. Let's go by these comics. Keep some of these details in that we know should stay in, and don't fuck with those small little details, because that destroys your movie. I'm sorry, it does.
Now, because the Venom, all right, of course, it's kind of hard to, say how things are supposed to look when it was a 2D image on the page. But I always considered Venom to look like, for the lack of a better term, the way the Liquid Terminator looked in Terminator 2, where except instead of being silver, it was being black, and it was like a ooze. It was something that, it would crawl up your body and ooze up your body. And now,
no, it was like that.
But no, but in the Tobey Maguire trilogy, it was almost looked like a bug walking almost, like when you would see it, which I didn't mind. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not the way I pictured it in my head, but I thought it was kind of cool. But I'm hoping that when they do Venom, this one, that it looks like a oily kind of liquid, and don't get me wrong, when it eventually hits, when it finally gets to where it's supposed to be, it looks solid. Like, it doesn't look like water. It doesn't look like oil and water mixed or triangles, whatever. But I see it creeping up the body like water. That's the way I see it in my head, and that's the way I always kind of thought the comics portrayed it. And like I said, the Tobey Maguire one, the special effects. I mean, I would not take away from the special effects the way it moved, because it didn't move the way I thought it would move the way it did in the comics. But I said, okay, you know what? I'll buy that. I can the kind of having where it kind of reaches out and little lassos almost and pulls itself forward. That's that's a cool difference. But I want to see, if we're gonna do it now, let's do it right. And I think the best way. Are you familiar at all with the X-Files movies?
I'm familiar a little bit with it, but not like.
Yeah. Well, the first X-Files movie, because there was actually two of them. The first X-Files movie, there was this thing called the Black Oil, which was it was sort of this thing that was kind of used for mind control from the aliens. It's a whole other fucking story I'm not even going to get into. But the way the black oil moved and kind of seeped over people's bodies and shit, that's the way I think they should do Venom, except, obviously maybe a little more, because in the X-Files they made it more creepy and kind of slowly oozing. No, I want this shit moving quick, when it needs to. You know what I'm saying? You could kind of have a scene where it looks like a guy's almost fucking drowning in the oil while it creeps up his body. You know what I'm saying? Choking out Eddie Brock or whatever. But then, and then plus also Venom always spoke in the two-person, almost kind of like the way Gollum speaks in Lord of the Rings. Because Venom always said
we.
Us. Yeah, we and us.
Or us. Yeah.
And they never said Venom in the Tobey Maguire trilogy. The whole fucking movie, they didn't say Venom, not once. And you would think that at least they could have at least when they had the reporters talking about when there was that whole scene where they're attacking the building, say, this venomous character. So, throw me a fucking bone here. But at least now this one, I mean, if they're talking about the Venom Project, god damn it, we're gonna have a character and we're gonna call him fucking Venom, which is this
dude. I just want to see Carnage, man. And to be honest with you, a lot of people on the internet have wanted Jim Carrey to play Carnage. Oh my god, that would be so fucking awesome.
But you know what it is? I mean, you're not going to see Carnage in the first movie.
Oh no! You'll see him show up though.
Yeah.
But
now by the second movie, because if any of all these movies kind of have the same trending, the first one's always like an origin story, which is they're always kind of that.
Well, yeah, basically what
happens. But then by the time they get to part 2, when they can bring in Carnage, holy shit! You know what I'm saying?
Well, if I remember correctly, because Venom turned to a good character, basically that bad part of his symbiont broke off into this child, so to speak, of him, which was Carnage, and he was just pure evil.
Yeah.
So it'll be really interesting. The Sinister Six one though, I'm just I don't know. We'll have to see, dude. I know these guys are they're gonna do things right. They should do things right, but I'm willing to give people a chance, but we'll see what happens. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
And with that, I think we're kind of at the halfway mark, so we'll be right back with more dick and fart jokes.
You should be fat, baby.
This episode of Two Strangers, One Podcast is brought to you by Comics Etc. 1115 East Main and North Goodman at the Hungerford Building, door number 8. Find out more information at comicsetc.biz or like them on Facebook at facebook.com/comicsetc1.
Click and Hit, enhancing the experience for all recreational smokers. Click and Hit is a one-handed portable vaporizer. This smoking pipe has a compact 4-stage design, complete with a built-in, windproof, butane refillable torch lighter. The large burn chamber holds your stash of legal herb or pipe tobacco. Click the button to ignite and inhale as usual. When you are done, put it back in your pocket for later. Smoke anytime with the touch of a button. No more carrying around grinders and tins. Leave the pipe, rolling papers, and even your lighter at home. The Click and Hit cordless vaporizer is no bigger than a normal cigar, making it the world's smallest and most discreet vaporizer. It's perfect for use in small places or shared rooms. It's efficient, getting 5 to 8 draws from your packed chamber. It's affordable at just $19.95 each. Buy 3 and the shipping is free. Buy 4 and you get the 5th one free. Visit www.click-n-hit.com. That's clickandhit.com.
And now for listeners of Two Strangers, One Podcast, you can use promo code STRANGERS and receive 10% off your purchase at clickandhit.com. That's promo code STRANGERS for 10% off your purchase.
And we're back. Okay, so let me see. I just wanted to touch upon. It's funny how we started with one thing and got way out of it.
You back yet?
But okay, so Anna Paquin, who played Rogue in the X-Men movies, she was also, I guess, her other big, huge role was playing Sookie Stackhouse in the True Blood movies. Now, oh my God, I forgot the name. There was a whole book series, and I honestly think they're like at book 8 or 9 or something like that.
Is it like Vampire Diaries or something?
It's, in all fairness, it was Vampire Diaries before the Vampire Diaries.
Okay.
It came out, by the Sookie Stackhouse, those books were like the first ones to come out, which unfortunately after those got famous, then like the Twilight books came out. And then, where they kind of, it was kind of like that resurgence of vampires. Because I was reading not for nothing, I mean, call me fruity or whatever. The True Blood books I was reading back in I want to say easily, I was reading those in 2006, 2007. The True Blood books, because it was kind of a little before it actually came to HBO. Now, and here's some spoilers, so for the people that read the books or watch the TV show. Now, and that's what kind of, once they got to season 2, now mind you, they're on season 6 or 7 now on fucking HBO.
Right.
And they've totally abandoned the books. When the first season is almost like it's a super duper true kind of following. The only thing that they didn't have, and this is, you're gonna laugh, is in the True Blood books, and they're called the Sookie Stackhouse series, if I'm not mistaken. There's actually in those books, Elvis Presley is a vampire. So, there's all those rumors that Elvis didn't really die, he faked his death or whatever. Well, they said that he faked his death because that's when he became a vampire. And so, Elvis Presley is actually a character in the book, but they call him Bubba, but it's supposed to be Elvis Presley, as a vampire. And I mean, that's the pure novelty of it all. These books were totally ridiculous. They're totally stupid. And what I didn't like is that, so you haven't seen any True Blood at all?
No, I haven't seen any True Blood at all. I don't have HBO, so.
Okay, well, here's a bit of a spoiler. There's one of the main characters in the show. The first season, there's this black gay guy named Lafayette. And of course, I see, it was a very interesting character, one of the better characters on the show. Now, in the books, spoiler alert, Lafayette gets killed in the second book. Basically the whole second book is like a murder mystery on figuring out who killed Lafayette. Well, I guess apparently the character was so fucking, was such a pull on the first season of True Blood that they decided, we're not going to kill Lafayette. We're going to make it somebody else, and they kill somebody else in season 2. And now, mind you, Lafayette stays alive. Now, apparently, and obviously, any story that now involves Lafayette has nothing to do with, the books because he was killed in book 2. So, it's like stuff like that made me really and the first couple seasons was directed by this guy named Alan Ball. He did the show 6 Feet Under. He directed that movie American Beauty. And Alan Ball, he's he likes clusterfuck situations. He loves situations where, where it's like a fucked up family, but everybody's fucked up. Like you can't just, you can't just have one person fucked up or two people fucked up. No, the whole fucking family's got to have their own issues. So, I mean, that's why like 6 Feet Under, which was another HBO series, and American Beauty, like those movies, like not saying, obviously drama is drama and everything like that, but like no family could be that fucked up. You know what I'm saying? You can't have that many dysfunctional people in one house. It just doesn't happen, where like everybody has their own dysfunction that has nothing to do with the other one. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, I mean, the show really kind of fell off. And I mean, basically it's just a reason to have sex and the vampires, everyone in the show is sexy. But one thing I do have to say in the beginning of season 3, because I watched season 2, I said, all right, fuck it. I came this far. Let me fine. But in the beginning of season 3, we finally get to see Anna Paquin naked because, in real life, her and the character, William, I think is the character's name. They were actually in real life boyfriend and girlfriend. So they filmed, and all you have to do is just, go on Google, search Anna Paquin nude.
Yeah, I actually have it pulled up. I'm gonna watch that podcast. Love you, sweetheart.
Yeah. I mean, the show is totally stupid and ridiculous, and it doesn't take itself too seriously. But I mean, even it gets so far over the fucking edge that because then by the time you get to book 3, because I read the first 4 books, by the time you get to book 3, they introduce werewolves. And all of a sudden, when you have a world with humans and vampires, and all of a sudden there's werewolves. By the time you get to season 6, on HBO, there's fairies and not in the Fruit Loop kind of way. There's fairies and all types of crazy mythological creatures, which were not in the fucking books. That's what's killing me. So like I said, long story short, if you want to see Anna Paquin, the girl who played Rogue, you want to see her titties, you could either just Google Anna Paquin nude, or you can watch the first couple episodes of True Blood season 3.
Moving on.
I have been for the past couple days, I've been binge watching. I guess people go on Netflix and they watch whole seasons. I have been binge watching Star Wars: The Clone Wars because I've always kind of caught episodes here and there, and I never got a chance to really watch it. I've been watching.
Whoa, wait! Are you watching a show that's on Toonami?
Yes, I am watching a show that's on Toonami. And I guess we could use that. We can use that to veer off into the next.
No, I'm interested now. Continue.
No, but let me tell you. I mean, being a kid, I mean, I have easily, and I'm not even trying to fluff up the numbers. I have easily read about 50 different Star Wars novels. I mean, when you go into a Barnes and Noble or something like that, you can, there's literally a whole section dedicated to Star Wars books. So there is a lot of extended universe stuff. Now, of course, when George Lucas made the prequels, a lot of that mythology went right out the window because George Lucas said, "Fuck you! I'm not going to follow your books because I made this universe, so it's going to apply by my rules." That being said, I'm literally on season 5 right now of Star Wars: The Clone Wars, and I've been watching them in a row, and actually, even the fluff episodes, because I mean, I know in anime and on Toonami, you guys talk about filler episodes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
There are filler episodes. Trust me, there is a lot of filler episodes in Star Wars: The Clone Wars. That being said, when you binge watch them, which I guess only a fucking nerd like myself would do,
yeah,
everything starts making sense. You could kind of see where the writers were going, where they would literally have a whole episode dedicated to the most asinine bullshit. And then just to have kind of one little twist that by the time you get to the next episode, you'll see how all that whole 22 minutes you just wasted now affects one decision made in the next episode.
Right.
And then you kind of forgive them and say, "Oh, okay, I can see why you made me sit through 22 minutes of fucking political intrigue bullshit, to see why a character made the decision they made." So, the fact that the show's gone away or, is no longer, and like I said, being a fan of the fan fiction, well, not fan fiction, excuse me, the extended universe, of Star Wars. These people found a decent, healthy balance between what George Lucas wrote and what, a lot of the extended universe, and all these extended universe, it's all written by different writers. You know what I'm saying? It's not like there's one person writing these books. I mean, they're literally, dozens of Star Wars writers, and they kind of take little bits here and there. And I guess when you have it on that show, it makes it a little more legitimate because.
Well, George Kirstick is actually one of those writers. He was on season 1 and 2, actually.
Yeah, and so that that being said, if you haven't gotten your chance, if you're a Star Wars fan and for whatever reason you haven't watched Star Wars: The Clone Wars, I would definitely recommend watching them. And however you watch them, by the DVD.
Watch them on Toonami.
Watch them on Toonami. iTunes. If you Google streaming cartoons online or whatever the case may be. That being said, I mean, because I haven't had a chance to really sit down and watch, like I said, I've seen episodes here and there. And now that I've pretty much watched all the seasons in a row, and let me tell you, man, that show was fucking, people died on that show. Like, I mean, it's very easy to say, okay, it's between episodes 2 and 3, and obviously all the main characters are going to live because, but they have, like, anyone who's not in episode 3, there's a chance that motherfucker's going to die.
Exactly. And here's the funny part, though, like a lot of people sat there and they were bitching about, because now you've given me an opportunity to go on a rant here. See, the thing, if you've seen Clone Wars, right? So you've seen like mostly everything. It's kind of funny because the longer that it goes, the more adult it becomes. Have you noticed that?
Oh, yeah.
And the more violent it becomes.
Oh, people die, bro.
Dude, like when the new apprentice shows up.
Ahsoka?
No, not her. What's his name shows back up.
Darth Maul?
Darth Maul shows up, but Dooku's apprentice who turns against him. And then, what's her name? The assassin there? Ventress.
Yeah.
Like, it gets so violent in there. Like, I'm sitting there watching this. And I've said this on the Toonami Faithful podcast before. As a father, I'm sitting there looking at this. And for me, I'm like, this is awesome. This is fucking awesome. And then I take a step back and I go, why are you kids watching this?
Yeah, this was at 10 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday.
10 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, why did you move this to 10 o'clock in the morning? What the fuck is wrong with you people? This is one of the problems I had with Cartoon Network is they took a show like this and they shoved it at, I believe it was like 10 o'clock in the morning on Saturday mornings. And I'm like, why are you guys doing that? This show doesn't deserve to be shit on the way that you're shitting on it. I understand what you're trying to do. You're trying to do what Toonami tried to do back in the day, which was have a morning run that went against, at the time it was Fox Kids, it was CW Kids,
yeah.
But those shows, those blocks, so to speak, were established, and they've been established for years. So Toonami coming in trying to go up against them didn't really work. But there again, Toonami in the afternoon worked because everybody's like, yeah, I can watch this every single fucking day instead of just watching it one day on a Saturday, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but for Star Wars, like, now that Toonami's on Adult Swim, like, Star Wars, like, a lot of people were like, well, why are you putting another kid show on? There's nothing kid about this show.
No.
Like, in the beginning, it kind of like a kid show, and then all of a sudden it just snaps, and then you're just seeing, like, you see Count Dooku's new apprentice just, like, go through, like, 50 people in, like, one swipe, and I'm just like...
Motherfuckers die.
I'm like...
that to me, that's, like, the biggest compliment. That's all I gotta say is those 2 words or 3 words. Motherfuckers die.
Motherfuckers die, man. Like, oh... And here's the part that really annoys me. Like, we're at some point it's going to get into that part with Star Wars on Toonami, obviously, and they're taking Clone Wars starting. This is the last week that it'll be at. I believe it's 3. Yeah, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. It's going to get moved to 5 o'clock in the morning. Now, I asked Jason DeMarco about this on the Toonami Faithful podcast, and if you guys haven't heard that interview, I suggest you go to podcast.toonamifaithful.com, free plug, and listen to the latest interview I did with Jason DeMarco, and me and Jose did, because, I asked him, I said, why are you moving Star Wars to 5 o'clock in the morning? And their justification is, well, it's close to Cartoon Network, so we're going to put it there. We're going to experiment. It's just an experiment. We're going to see how it goes, and if it sucks, we'll move it somewhere else. But for me, like, and I continue to say this, it should be up. It should be fucking up where, like, and you don't know what the plot is all about, so I can't. For me saying this to you, Chris, you're just going to sit there and go, I don't even know if I fucking care. But, like, Sword Art Online is, like, at 2 o'clock. 2:30 they have FLCL. They should have put it there, after where FLCL is right now at 2:30, because I think it would do really well coming out of Sword Art Online. In Star Wars, you've seen it. It deserves to do really well, right or wrong.
Oh yeah, like,
you know what I mean?
I understand that I'm probably a little bit more of a Star Wars nerd than the average nerd, But that being said, like, I fucking really enjoyed it, and there's a lot of little inside jokes and like they shout out fucking Indiana Jones, for Christ's sake, in an episode. Like stuff like that. It's like, you catch little things that, if you're not a fan, obviously, if you're not a person like me, you haven't read 50 fucking books, it'll just pass. But if you're a fan like me, you'll catch the fucking reference, and you're like, oh my God, I can't believe, they mentioned this character, whatever the case may be. And it adds a whole new level.
And the thing is like, this show definitely deserves to have a good time slot. I really truly believe that this show, if put in the right time slot, will do very well. It really deserves to have, like, a really good time slot where people can actually experience Clone Wars and not just sit there and go, "Oh, Clone."
Yeah, I don't know what happened. It kind
and
of
actually, now you actually have a very good signal.
Oh, okay.
Okay, where was I? Basically, like, Star Wars deserves to have, like, a really good run. And my really concern now that Star Wars is owned by Disney is, well, first of all, there's another season that they didn't think was going to ever, like, be seen by the public. Mm-hmm. But Disney said, yeah, we're going to you can put that out. That actually may show up on Cartoon Network, or
I'm hoping. I'm so there, dude.
I'm hoping it's going to show up on Toonami, is where I'm hoping it does. And if it does, it's huge. I actually asked Jason about that, believe it or not. And he said to me, I started to say the question, he's like, I have no idea. He's like, no idea what's going on with it. Seriously, like, we know that they're there. We know, that they're going to put them out, but we don't know what's going to happen with those. We don't know if it's just going to go straight. He didn't really say this, but I assume that he meant, like, it's not going to go straight to it may go straight to DVD. Mm-hmm. It may do that. It may either go straight to DVD, or, which a lot of people think is going to happen, is they're going to basically play it with the new Star Wars series, Star Wars Rebels, on Disney XD, I believe it is. Mm-hmm. And, that while that's all well and good,
No, I think Toonami's perfect for it.
I do too. And, like, I think that it actually shows, like, it's kind of funny because, like, you look at Toonami Asia, for example, and, obviously we can't see Toonami Asia because it's over in Asia, but you see some of the promos that come out of there, and you see, like, okay, for example, Young Justice. Mm-hmm. Actually, Justice League is on there, but that's old, so that doesn't need to be on Toonami again, because it already was there. But you see something like that. You see, like, Young Justice, or, for example, you see Star Wars Clone Wars. It was there first before it showed up on this Toonami. You sit there and you go, it makes sense to be on Toonami, and then all of a sudden it shows up on our Toonami. It's like, because I think a lot of people confuse the fact that Toonami has always been an action cartoon block. And this is where, me and Chris can agree. You have Megas XLR, for example. That's an action cartoon. That's not an anime. It's an action cartoon. Yes, Toonami is mainly an anime right now, and in about a week from now, you're going to have an anime the English dub is going to premiere first here in the United States. That's unprecedented. Yes, Toonami is mainly an anime block now, but you ask Jason DeMarco, it's an action cartoon block. So Star Wars definitely belongs to be there, especially in an adult situation with the way that the later episodes are.
The way motherfuckers get killed, motherfuckers die.
Samurai Jack, fuck. I am so glad that came back. Like, you can, like, when he announced that on our show, see, people, you need to listen to Toonami Faithful Podcast. Like, you'll agree, dude. Like, that was an awesome show. Like, there's a lot of adult content on that show that qualifies it for Adult Swim. And I am glad that they actually saved that show, and I'm hoping I'm hoping that it does really well in the 2:30 slot, because that one definitely deserves to be over Star Wars in the 2:30 slot, if anything.
Mhm.
And also, speaking of putting a show around where Cartoon Network starts back up at 6 o'clock, put that at 5:30 when Inuyasha's gone, because fuck, that would, kids would be up at fucking 5:30 in the morning going, oh my god, Samurai Jack's on, oh my god. You know what I mean? But I guess the point I'm trying to make here is, Clone Wars is such a good show that I think more people should give it a chance.
Mhm.
Especially in the anime community, because I think that we focus too much on, okay, well, anime is the big thing these days, and that's the only good thing. And don't get me wrong, some of the American cartoons that are coming out are just complete and utter shit. Complete and utter shit. I could wipe my ass with most of the shit that comes out of fucking Cartoon Network and Kids WB and everything. The only good cartoons are fucking anime. Look at fucking Yu-Gi-Oh! Yu-Gi-Oh! What is it, Zexal now or something? That's... it's an anime. Fucking Nicktoons. Sorry, I'm gonna go off on a rant. And this isn't anything to do with Toonami either. You've heard of the new Digimon, right? Digimon Fusion. Have I talked about this at all?
No, this is a little over my head.
Okay, Digimon Fusion. Do you remember Digimon back in the day?
Yeah.
Okay, so Digimon Fusion is a newer series that Nickelodeon brought to the United States, and it was on Nickelodeon actually. And I was like, yeah, it would play right after Power Rangers on on Saturdays. At 1 would be Power Rangers, and then 1:30 would be Digimon. Well, the problem is I guess it wasn't getting that much of a rating, and they moved it to their Nicktoons channel. Here's the problem. It's like fucking Disney XD. Not everybody fucking has Disney.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So now you're missing out on a great fucking show that, everybody wants to see. Fucking the only good American shows that are out right now. And I will count fucking Korra as a good show, as an American show. I don't know. Have you seen Legend of Korra?
No, but then again, I've never seen Airbender, so I don't know if I'd be lost.
We need to catch you up. We need a little bit, because basically it's an American anime, basically, is what it is, because it's animated here and it looks like an anime, basically. So, there's Korra, there's Avatar, and then there's obviously Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which, by the way, free plug, we did a review on Geeky on that, so go to geekyinc.com and see that. I'm just doing a lot of fucking plugs tonight. You're probably sitting there, shut the fuck up, Paul. I'll kill you, fucking piece of shit. But it just when we get a good American fucking cartoon, and this goes especially for Star Wars, but Young Justice was there playing with Star Wars too. These shows definitely deserve to have a longer run than what they do, and they definitely don't deserve the fucking shithole of a 10 a.m. fucking time slot.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna make the suggestion to anybody out there that's listening: fucking go get Star Wars, pick it up, watch it, because it's definitely worth the watch. Same thing with Young Justice. Same thing with these American cartoons. Get every one of them. Get the new Thundercats, for God's sakes. Because the problem is right now is we don't have these American cartoons that are good. And it kind of makes me sad, because we were back in the 90s, dude. You remember? We had some really fucking good cartoons, man. It was like the golden age of American cartoons out there. And now it's and don't get me wrong, I do like anime. I do like most of the anime that comes out. But no, I'm not hentai, you fucking piece of shit. I know you're gonna say hentai.
Tentacle porn.
I knew you were gonna fucking bring that shit up. But it's I don't know about you, Chris, but I'm a little disappointed. I'm really disappointed with America when it comes to cartoons, because we don't have anything good. And then if we do have something good, it's like Transformers Prime was buried at the hub.
Yeah.
Not everybody gets the hub. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was a great show. Now it's on Vortex, but I don't know, dude. I just feel like these American shows that are really good need to be on cartoon blocks that are going to highlight them, and give them a good run. I don't fucking care if Disney made a goddamn fucking show. You gave Toonami fucking money to fucking do Wreck-It Ralph. To promote Wreck-It Ralph. You're telling me that you wouldn't put put Star Wars Rebels on there. I guarantee you, not only would you get a fucking good goddamn time slot, that would fucking do 2 to 3 million viewers a fucking week. Are you kidding me? Do you know how many fucking Star Wars fans are out there? holy shit, Chris.
And especially with the buzz around the next movies coming out and stuff like that. I mean, it's still fresh in people's minds,
dude. Like it's not just. I know I talk a lot about Toonami, but for me, as a person that grew up in I saw a lot of cartoons in the late '80s and basically in the '90s. It just really disappoints me that we can't come up with something good and then put it right on big TV. I mean, we lost Fox Kids. We lost, pretty much the only thing out there on Saturday mornings is basically, well, it's not WWB Kids, which it should be, but Vortex is the only thing out there now, and I don't know, it's just sad, like, I hate to make this show, like, all somber and fucking shit, like, it just makes me annoyed when we take properties and we don't handle them the right way, They
could be. There's so much potential because fucking it's a shame to see it wasted.
We could sit here and talk about this all day. Fucking Megas XLR, we'd be fucking here like 1:15 right now. We'd probably be here till like 4:00 in the morning talking about this shit. Everybody'd be like, just give me a fucking gun. I want to fucking kill myself and blow my fucking brains out. I don't know. I think I've just stressed this a little too much.
Yeah. Well, so just to kind of like bring it back a little bit. And it's funny that you mentioned the episodes of Star Wars: The Clone Wars where Count Dooku has his apprentice, which is I forgot the first name, but her last name is Ventress.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know. Did you see the episodes at all that like kind of had to do with Darth Maul and
Maul?
Well, like, because long story short, they kind of had this witch character that she was like all red with
I
the
saw
funky.
most of those.
Mm-hmm. Now, just being a person that's a Star Wars geek, that witch character was actually based on when there was a bunch of conceptual art when they were trying to figure out what Darth Maul was going to look like.
Right.
There was a time where that witch character was one of the ideas that they were going to use, but then George Lucas decided to go another direction.
Right.
So, the people who made Clone Wars, like, here we go, we got this fucking badass fucking, female, witch looking like character. Let's use that art. So the funny thing is that, here's a character that's kind of interacting with Darth Maul when, in the reality of the situation that was actually one of Darth Maul's early incarnations, if you want to call it, for lack of a better term.
Right. No, I get what you're saying, yeah.
Now, the funny thing about that character, the name of the character's name is Mother Talzin, Talzin. So I said, sometimes, you listen to voice actors and maybe, maybe because I'm a little more into cartoons or whatever, sometimes you'll hear a person's voice and like, it was like, there's a little bit of it that reminds you of someone else. Well, the Mother Talzin character.
Yes. That's who it is. Yep.
Is the woman who does the voice for that character is the woman who also does the voice of Rita Repulsa from the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Really?
And
I didn't fucking know that.
Yeah, and so it was just one of those deals. Sometimes when you hear like a character and you're kind of like, oh, who is can I? You go online and you're like, who's what other voices has this person done? And and it's Rita Repulsa, which I just to kind of, I know you were talking about cartoons from the 90s, but Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. The Rita Repulsa. Now, mind you, of course, the person I'm talking about was just the voice, so it was acted by this Japanese actress, who's actually if you look at other pictures of the actress that played Rita Repulsa, was kind of hot, in her younger days. But the voice of Mother Talzin from Star Wars: The Clone Wars is also the voice of Rita Repulsa. It's a kind of for those retro people that kind of pining over the lost days of the early 90s.
By the way, speaking of Power Rangers, I believe that Mega episode that everybody's waiting for on Megaforce is coming up. I really haven't seen the advertising, nor do I know when it's supposed to play. But if it does play, I will let you guys know. Because I definitely will be watching that because fucking the Green Ranger's supposed to be in that shit, and I'm going to be watching that shit. Definitely.
Yeah, I saw a picture because I know I believe you told me that he's like an MMA fighter now.
Yeah, it's really weird. He has his own karate. I believe it might be he has a set of karate studios too. Mm-hmm. But he also he's every once in a while he goes in and does MMA fights, and he's fucking good, dude. He's Like, you want to talk about a guy that's legit. Like, I guess I hate to fucking make this make this connection, but fucking, like, you look at Walker Texas Ranger, who, you know, obviously he does his own karate, and then you got fucking Tommy Oliver. No, it's not Tommy Oliver. That's the character's name. But you got Jason. That's his name. Jason David Frank. God, I gotta get this fucking right so people don't sit there and go, I'm gonna fuck the shit. Like, actually fucking did all the fucking karate moves and shit.
Yeah, and like the pictures, I mean, because when I was looking up the Rita Repulsa, and it was kind of like an article on Where Are They Now kind of a deal, and like the pictures, they had him first and foremost, like he's jacked up, and then he got like fucking badass tats, like, you know, like, you know.
Yeah.
You know, he's like, he's waiting for someone to fucking make like a joke. Like, yeah, come on, make a joke, motherfucker. I'll smash your fucking head into the concrete. Yeah.
Well, like, dude, like, he's a fucking badass, and if he ever comes up to, like, one of the cons up here, dude, like, I would definitely love to meet and interview him as long as Chris is good to him.
Oh no, I'm not gonna. Well, I mean, I'm not gonna be an ass to him. I mean, I was just, talking shit before.
I'll forgive you.
Yeah, so it was, yeah. So like I said, the pictures I saw, and it's just the pictures I saw of him. He's fucking jacked and he's all tatted up. That's pretty badass.
You know, this is probably going to be like our last episode for the year, actually.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
Depends on when we record.
Yeah. Holy shit. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Yeah. So this is ending 2013.
Or well, actually, I guess technically the first of the year one would, if we record on Tuesday night, would be
Yeah.
Yeah, it would still be for the first of the year. So yeah, I guess this is the last episode.
This is the last 2013. It's been a crazy fucking year. You know, actually, it's kind of funny that you mentioned that, because one of my projects that I'm working on right now, I mean, obviously, anyone who's listened to any episode of Two Strangers One Podcast, you know, I play an ad for my book at the end of every episode. And I'm actually I have a program on my computer that turns text to speech. And it's actually a pretty good text to speech program, like when it like actually sounding like a human being actually talking. I'm going to be releasing my book in, I guess, what would be audiobook form as probably episodes, you know, in between episodes of Two Strangers One Podcast. It was something that's been always in the back of my head for a little while, and I've actually started to get it done. But it is funny to hear a voice reading it, because it kind of catches the small little grammatical errors that I made that I didn't know I made. But then again, I mean, if this was, I mean, you know, even though the book, you can still order it at deviljackpot.us. Shameless plug.
Why you gotta be plugging shit on this show? What the fuck is wrong with you? No plugs are deserved to be on this show.
And but that being said, I mean, it's one of those deals where, like, I guess I didn't, you know, had the book been picked up by a publishing company, I'm pretty sure they would have hired an editor, you know, and it's the editor's job to get, you know, when you're a writer, you write, and, you know, your job is to get the story out there, not to fucking, you know, not to sweat, you know, the little things here and there, or, you know, the way one word may sound. Like, I think the biggest problem is, like, I'll continue to use the character's name over and over again, and it didn't, I guess in my head when I was reading it, it doesn't, like, you know, and, oh, Eric did this and Eric did that and Eric, and then, like, you know, I could just sit there and break it up, and instead of saying Eric, say he. You know, we could sit there and play the pronoun game, but it's one of those deals that I guess I didn't catch it in writing, and it definitely kind of sticks out just a little bit when you hear it actually being read out to you. And
so you're gonna go back and edit it, basically.
I could. I'm not going to for this particular incarnation, because fuck it, it's a free book. It's a free audiobook. But hopefully, you know, I'm thinking, you know, hopefully it'll generate a little more interest. I mean, you know, so if people want to have, you know, get their hands on the actual paper version. But, you know, so it's a project that I'm working on, you know, and I guess now I definitely have to stick to it now that I've said that. So I'm actually like about halfway, or more like 1/3 of the way through the book. getting it. So, and it's funny the way the chapters are laid out, the way I kind of write, each chapter is about 15 minutes. So I'll probably be releasing it like in 4 chapter chunks. So like, basically,
Clunk chunks.
clunky chunks, where, so basically it'd be an hour, it'd be about, the average, or not even the average, because our shows usually go for an hour and a half, but, about an hour, an hour long chunks. So you can, listen to it if you like it, come back for more, and if not, go fuck yourself.
That's the way to say it, Chris. That's the way to say it.
I mean, obviously I'm a little biased because it's my book, goddammit. But it's something I haven't looked at my work and listened to my work. I haven't gone over it in a while, and it is kind of weird to kind of like sit there and listen to stuff that I wrote a couple years ago, and it's still kind of like, it gets me excited. It still gets me a little, amped up or whatever. So
does it turn you on?
Yeah, turn me on. So, I mean, I don't know if it would be at the end of this year or the beginning of next year, but, it's kind of, I've been sitting on this book for a long time and it hasn't taken off in the way that I wanted to, but who knows? Maybe this could be some sort of new, weird, funky way of marketing, where, people get interested and say, fuck it, I want the actual paper version of this book. So, I will be releasing that as episodes of, Two Strangers, One Podcast or whatever, Double Jackpot, Two Strangers, One Podcast presents the Double Jackpot audiobook or whatever the case may be. But like I said, I mean, I think, like I said, am I a little biased? Yeah, but I think it's a good story. I like, I like the way it's going. Like I said, if you're not going to sit there and be a fucking grammar Nazi, then you could, I think it would be an enjoyable book. And also, like for anybody who wants to sit there and critique my writing, let me see what the fuck you did. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, damn.
Well, no, I'm just saying is that, like there's people like, I mean, of course, we sit here and we could talk about movies and Sam Raimi could tell us, you know what, Chris, when you direct a movie, let's, let me critique it. Let's see how well you handle Venom, asshole. But
that's probably what he would say too.
But I'm just saying but it's okay for us we could throw stones at Sam Raimi because he's on a high fucking tower. Us throwing stones isn't really going to do anything. If some internet troll is going to talk shit about my book, I mean, show me something that you've done, not, to the trolls, show me something you've done. And, let's, I'll be as forgiving as you are with my book. So, if you're going to come after me, have some credentials, if you're going to come after me with some, yeah, what I'm saying? So, I mean, I will be releasing it. I mean, and I guess, worst case scenario, it's kind of I think it's easier to, and mind you, if I do my math correctly, I mean, this thing is going to be like 12 hours altogether. It is a 50 chapter book. At 15 minutes a chapter. So if my math is correct, that's like it's 12 hours. So I mean, but then again, I mean, a lot of audiobooks are about that. You know what I'm saying? I've listened to audiobooks that were much longer than 12 hours. So is it going to be a substantial chunk of your time? But yeah, you could listen to it while you're in your car. You could listen to it, while you're spanking it, I don't know, cranking it or whatever. And then, I'm doing something a little different. I am putting music in the background, but it's not music per se. It's kind of like, it's these weird, funky, droning kind of, the voice by itself, I just thought was kind of just weird. So I've taken music and kind of warped it up a bit. So at least there's something, there's accompanying sounds to the background. And actually the way these things sound, it almost makes it sound like it makes this book sound like a horror book. Cause it's kind of like, I've done this thing, what's called the stretching, where it takes the music and kind of like slows it down. And so it sounds like a horror book, but it's not. I mean, it's actually a romantic comedy. But that being said, I think it's, I'm proud of it. You know what I'm saying? It's my ugly baby, but it's my ugly baby, so, we'll be handling that soon. And then also, as we get close to the end of wrapping things up, the website 2S1P, I've actually made leaps and bounds in the past couple of days, getting it to, somewhat of a usable interface and external links. And right now, so far, it'll, if you haven't listened to us at all ever,
That looks so much better.
Yeah, we do have a web player on the website where you can stream the episodes if you're in front of your computer and you're doing, while you're on Facebook, you can listen to us. Either, there's links to the iTunes, there's the links to the Stitcher, all the things that I've been wanting to get done. I'm actually, I'm slowly getting there, and I'm slowly familiarizing myself with the way WordPress looks and acts and works and stuff like that. So the website is slowly coming along, and it's a natural progression. I mean, it will get better with time, but I guess the real chunk of it is the content we give you on the actual podcast. So if you want to hear two guys talking about the nerdiest shit you could fucking possibly think about, you found it right here on Two Strangers One Podcast.
And I do promise next year we're going to try to get as many interviews as we possibly can.
Yeah, I have to get the website up and looking semi decent before I have the balls to approach a celebrity. And don't be wrong, I mean interviewing George Christic, Jody Schaefer. Who else? Oh my God! Two of the contestants from King of the Nerds. Even my buddies, Andy from his band, oh my God.
You're so tired, aren't you?
Punk 77 NYC and I've had friends of mine on the show. I interviewed the guy who did the documentary about Dr. Demento. It's little things here and there. I've had our local roller derby girls back a couple months ago and stuff like that. So we've had C-list, D-list celebrities, but I would definitely like to up the ante. But I mean, of course, it's kind of fun talking to people without like this huge agenda going on and kind of having fun and stuff like that. So I just, trying to get the website up and looking halfway decent before we approach, another stranger to come and join our little party.
Sounds good to me, man. Sounds good to me.
Yeah. Like I said, we're slowly working on it, but it's, hopefully 2014 will bring us bigger and better things. And there's stuff in the works, and there's cons and I would like to organize another thing like I did earlier this year. I mean, Stranger Con didn't turn out the way I wanted it to be, but now that I kind of know what to expect, now I can, we could take it in another direction, or take it, see, I can see where I've learned from my mistakes, And like I said, Spider-Man 1 was okay. Spider-Man 2 was much, much better. So, maybe Stranger Con 2, The Wrath of Khan. And we're back after some technical difficulties. But basically,
It's fapping, basically, okay, people?
Yeah,
it was fapping, his internet connection died. So what can I do? There's nothing I can do.
This happens when I jerk off during the show. My internet quality suffers while I'm
it goes fap.
Yeah.
So, have you said all your piece there? I guess is my question.
Well, I guess I can kind of go through the whole spiel of basically, please visit please visit 2s1p.com, where you can find everything show related. Links to my eBay page, which actually no, that isn't a link up just yet, but but I will get it back up there actually when I start selling stuff again. You can find right now the links to, like I said, our web player, which is powered by Podomatic, which is our hosting site. Oh, excuse me. You can follow. What the hell? I had chips and 5-layer dip, which is basically refried beans, salsa, guacamole, cheese, and so I just burped a beautiful. And I had that and a Red Bull. And if the people from Red Bull want to sponsor us, that'd be pretty awesome.
Sponsored by Red Bull.
They sponsor everybody else. Why not?
The podcast gives you wings. That would be hilarious. The podcast gives you wings.
You should be fapping. All over
the place.
You can find links to our iTunes. If you have an iPhone, iPad, iPod, you can subscribe to us to the podcast. Just go to the podcast section in the iTunes store. In the upper right corner, search for Two Strangers One Podcast. You'll see our beautiful red, white, and blue logo where you can subscribe. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Two Strangers One Podcast, all spelled out. Pretty much that's my main portal of getting stuff out there. I haven't gotten into Tumblr yet. If you are on Twitter, you could find us at Stranger Podcast. Let me see what else. You can buy my book, Double Jackpot, at doublejackpot.us, which I guess if you want to be a cheap bastard, you can wait until the audiobook comes out and gets released. And
Well, don't fucking tell people that. Oh, I guess you can wait till my book comes out and then not pay any money for it. Sure, why not?
well, I mean, I guess, I mean,
What are you in the Christmas spirit over here?
I just spent the past 20 minutes talking about how I'm going to release it, so I'm not going to, I can't just bullshit and say, hey, it's going to be released in audiobook form, which you can download totally for free on Two Strangers One Podcast. But if you want to dig deep into your pocketbooks, and if you feel that this is such a baby, you can say the book was better. You could always say the book was better. That being said, you can buy my book at doublejackpot.us. Why am I drawing a blank on everything else at the show we have?
Well, I told you to stop drinking before the show, and you just don't listen to me. So
yeah, actually, it's funny that you bring that up. Today, well, actually, no, it's after midnight. So as of yesterday, I hit my 2-year sobriety mark. I haven't had one fucking drop of alcohol in 2 years.
Good job.
And I mean, not that drugs were never my problem anyway. I mean, let's be real here. I mean,
drugs are bad. Drugs are bad. Okay.
Smoked a little weed. But that was. I mean, I haven't even before my this 2-year sobriety, this self-imposed sobriety, which is funny. My coworker goes, she goes, what? You had a drinking problem? I said, no, I had a judge problem. So, but that being said, I mean, I've been clean and sober. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've also been on a steady diet of fucking, antidepressants and fucking Ambien. So it's not exactly like I'm, chemical free, but I haven't been doing any illegal drugs. But then again, I haven't done any drinking either, saying, so it is a huge relief not being, drinking and driving and shit like that, not having to worry about those headaches. But I'm working on being a better person. No, fuck that shit. I'm still the same. Look, I haven't had a drink in over 2 years. Really, technically, it was 2 years ago. But I mean, I really stopped drinking a little more than 2 years ago. But I have to count the actual anniversary of the 2-year anniversary because, it was after Christmas and I was down in New York City and I was visiting my dad, and my dad likes to drink, and my dad offered to buy me a beer and I took it. You know what I'm saying? But, I'm still the same miserable prick I always was, even before I started drinking or stopped drinking or whatever the case may be. I am totally getting an internet problem over here.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, but I'm hearing typing on your end, so I think it's your fault.
It's not my fault. Don't you dare blame this shit on me. I got a full fucking signal, motherfucker.
I'm hearing typing on your end. No, but that being said,
that sounds sexy, by the way.
That being said, that's pretty much it. What I have to say about. I had some other topics I wanted to get into, but
we can wait till next. Well, obviously we'll get into 2014. So
yeah,
as long as like some meteor doesn't come down and kill us all, or some Y2K shit or whatever.
Yeah,
the Mayans like come back and be like, "Oh, we said 2012, we meant 2014." Fuck.
Yeah.
I guess I just wanted to say, like, it's. I've had an interesting year. I don't think a lot of people notice that I have, 2 jobs, I'm on 2 podcasts. I have 2 websites. I have a girlfriend and I have a kid. Yeah, I have a lot of things that I have to do. So, it's good to come on this show and be able to take over and hopefully do a good job. I hope I do a good job. I hope you people like me. I have to say, like, it's been a good way. It's been a good year. It's been a good year. 2013 has been good to me, from being featured, now being one of the feature fan sites on Toonami.com, to recording the official Toonami panel down in MomoCon in Atlanta, to, coming onto another podcast and actually being able to be entertaining. It's incredible to see, like, these things happen, and for me to actually not talk about fucking Toonami every fucking time, because that is my love, that is my passion. So unfortunately Chris can kill me as many times as he wants, but that is my passion. So it's one other good thing that happened to me this year was meeting the love of my life, and my girl Kelsey, it means a lot to me, and I thought I would take a moment just to say that I love her, and I hope that it does continue into this year, because, she is pretty much the best thing that's ever happened to me, and it's, going from some girl that fucking said, "Oh yeah, I love you and I want to marry you," and, I can't wait to have kids with you, and then all of a sudden turns around and cheats on you and fucking breaks up with you and says I loved you to somebody else when you're in a relationship. I don't understand why I dated that ugly whore. I don't understand. Actually, she was more like a... So, I'm just grateful to be on this podcast, be on here with you, Chris, and hopefully I'm entertaining enough, and, I know I'm entertaining enough by talking about that cheating-ass whore that fucked up my life. Unlike the incredible girl that I have now, which is just awesome. I could go on for like hours about this, but Chris will kill me and throw me in a dumpster. So, basically, you can find me, as usual, at Paul Pasquillo on Twitter. I've opened it up to the public now, so you can just follow me whenever. We'll see how long that lasts. If people start trolling me, I might just go, fuck all of you. It's gonna be private.
Someone's gonna ask you, are you bisexual, or does that just mean you jerk off twice a day?
I don't know who said that to Jose. I actually thought it was
pretty
you.
Funny. That
is pretty
take
funny.
Credit for that.
I thought it was you, or I thought it was Darrell, and neither one of you did it. So it's kind of funny that it was somebody else. But so somebody's listening to the fucking show. See, somebody's listening to the fucking show. It's awesome. But you can also find me on Tumblr, paulpasquillo.tumblr.com. I've been putting a lot of my top 5 Toonami stuff, so if you guys want to see that and some other Toonami moments that I liked of this year, please do follow me there. I will be putting Two Strangers, One Podcast there as well, so make sure that you also follow me on that Tumblr because it'll be there as well, and maybe one day we'll have our actual own Tumblr page for the podcast. We'll be big boys. But, once we get the site up and running the way that Chris likes it, and I don't bitch about it, we'll be fine. So, but yeah, it's been a great year, and hopefully we can continue this relationship and, hold hands, Chris, and take walks to the park. And my girlfriend's probably listening going, oh, fucking God, what the hell's wrong with my boyfriend?
I don't have a vagina. That's
I know. That was my favorite moment of this year. Hey, I don't have a vagina, so...
She's giving you the one thing I can't.
Exactly. See, Darrell doesn't even say that line. But anyways, so please make sure that you guys follow, because our Twitter is being a little lonely. I see, like, Facebook, I'm like, yeah, look at how many likes. Then I look at our Twitter, I'm like, that needs a lot more likes, a lot more follow, because it needs some love. It definitely does. So, and
big like right now, just while you were talking, I kind of did bring up basically our Podomatic lets you know what like cities are kind of. Now unfortunately, like it kind of just groups the cities in bunches where we're in Rochester, but it doesn't recognize Rochester, it recognizes Buffalo.
Oh God.
Now, right now our top visits and downloads come from San Jose, California, Seattle, Washington. So we're getting a lot of West Coast love.
Seattle, Washington sketch, you fucking piece of shit. I know how you're listening.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying is like the number of visits. It's like really jacked up. And San Jose, Seattle, Washington, San Francisco, then Washington,
California love.
Yeah, West Coast love, like no doubt.
West Coast.
But then the East Coast kind of representing Washington D.C., Indianapolis, which is kind of in the middle, I guess. Buffalo, but technically Buffalo does account for Rochester also. Wichita, Kansas, but honestly, I think Wichita, Kansas kind of just covers the whole fucking middle of the country. Los Angeles, once again, West Coast love. Austin, Texas. Columbus, Ohio. Houston, Texas. And of course, New York. Come on, New York City. That's my hometown. You guys got to represent a little harder than that.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you for the love on the West Coast, but New York City, come on. I'm a local boy. I'm a hometown hero. Come on. Fuck the Yankees. Support me. So that being said, I guess, we certainly hope you guys enjoyed listening, had as much fun as we did recording. Thank you for listening to Two Strangers, One Podcast. I'm Chris.
I'm Paul.
Don't be a stranger.
Peace. We're out.
Bye.
You should be fapping.
You should be. You can't be.
All right, here we go, man. Go ahead. You want to read
Double Jackpot.
What is it?
It is a self-published book by Christopher Cologne.
Chris Cologne? Smells good to me.
But
look at her. That broke that fucking cold little exterior. He's like, hee.
But it is spelled Colon.
Him punny.
But Double Jackpot is a book about a comic book artist, Eric, who is in a loveless relationship with a materialistic
I feel you, Eric.
Lynette.
Oh, fucking, are you sure I didn't write this? Sounds hauntingly familiar.
He starts cheating on his girlfriend with a more creatively supportive woman, Nadia.
Well, I gotta meet her. Where's the Nadia?
There's your summer girlfriend.
Summer Nadia is Nadia.
Nadia?
Yeah, I think Nadia spelled with an A.
All right.
Both Lynette and Nadia play the double jackpot, the largest payout in lotto history, much like the recent Powerball. Both girls play his birth date as the winning numbers. Eric is now stuck between two of the country's richest women. Who will he choose? It's not that simple. This is a clever fucking idea,
Yeah, it
man.
is.
Look at her, fucking. She's impressed.
I am.
She got some summer reading. Christopher Cologne smells real lovely with an original idea. This is. I've never heard this before.
I haven't either. This is a self-published book, much in the indie spirit as Kev's Clerks.
Oh, you don't even need to name check me. This is just a good idea. You could stand on your own, man. You don't even have to be like, hey, remember Clerks? This is nothing like that. This is way more original than Clerks. This is a good idea, man. Why didn't I think of this?
I need something to read. This book is part of the Comic Books, Heavy Metal, Video Games Trilogy Book 2. Odd I See, A Tale from the Road, coming soon.
Right on, man. It's part of a trilogy. This is the first part.
Way to write, man.
He's seeking a literary agent. Motherfuckers, anybody out there? There ain't no literary agents listening to this show, I assure you, sure. Sure. I assure you, sure. But somebody know a literary agent? Hook a motherfucker up! Chris Cologne come up with an original idea. I should tell Raskin. That's a good fucking idea, to be honest with you. That's a fucking rom-com right there. Megan, get Raskin on the phone. Isn't it possible to get Raskin on the phone? No?
Yeah.
I want to run it past him, man. I want to, and if it happens, I get a taste, Chris Cologne. I get a whiff, if you will.
The book could also be ordered on www.lulu.com.
That's lulu.com.
I understand that. I just want to spell it out.
Normally one says it, that spells it. Still, lulu.com. What is that? Do you know what it is?
I don't know. All right. The book could also be ordered on www.lulu.com. Search for Double Jackpot Christopher Cologne. A paperback version of the book is $15 and a PDF file is only $5.
$5 is
Yeah.
insanely inexpensive. 15 is not even that bad for a paperback version.
No.
This is $1 million idea right here. Like a movie about a dude who fucking is stuck between two chicks, both of who play his birthday and win the lottery. Come on! I can see that trailer. Chris Cologne is on to something. Nobody else can smell it but me.
I'll read it.
Thank you. I'm going to make that smelly joke.
I know. You're trying to get me to laugh again.
It worked once. Double Jackpot is a self-published book by Chris Cologne, man. It's the first book in his comic books, heavy metal, video games trilogy. Book 2, Odd I See, A Tale from the Road, should be coming out soon. Get all the information at Chris Cologne, like a motherfucker.
I will
his
totally
book,
read this.
Double Jackpot. I'm serious. I'm going to recommend that to fucking Raskin. How is that not a movie? You know what I'm saying? This could be a sexy movie. You could do an R-rated version. There could be nudie in it, and you could show them fucking both chicks. Maybe a little penetration. Maybe a butthole shot. No butthole, no care.
I would like to formally apologize to Christopher Cologne right now.
No, sex sells. Chris Cologne will appreciate that. He's like, thanks for throwing a few buttholes in there, man.
Don't forget to check out twostrangersonepodcast.net, your one-stop resource for everything show-related. You can find links to subscribe to us on iTunes or on Stitcher. You could also find links to buy my book, Double Jackpot, on twostrangersonepodcast.net.
Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. You're cool. And fuck you, I'm out.